So carrying on from what I was just saying in the last video, lists are mutable. Okay, so a mutable sequence means the items in the sequence can be changed. So when you say mutable, it means, I always think of mutate. Like you can mutate the contents of that list. You can change the contents of that list. So lists are mutable, tuples are not mutable. So that means that in a list you can actually change the elements. So again, like I showed you, list 1 equals some new value can be used to assign a new value. So obviously over here we see even numbers 1 is 45. Okay, so you can tell, you can actually change the values in there. Now, again, if you use an invalid index, you're going to get an index error. And so if you get an index error, make sure you understand what that is. Okay. So now sometimes it may be useful to actually combine lists or concatenate lists. So we understand the term concatenate means to stick together. Okay. So we've been concatenating strings using the plus sign. It's going to be roughly the same thing with two lists. Okay. So again, concatenate means join two things together. The plus operator can be used to concatenate two lists. So if you think about a string, it's really nothing more than a list of characters. It's nothing more than a list of characters. So a string is a list of characters. If you can say that out loud, that would be fantastic. A string is a list of characters. Okay, so I can concatenate strings to each other. So I can have, in quotation marks 1, 2, 3, and then I can put a plus sign, then I can have in quotation marks 4, 5, 6. Okay, so it concatenates them together. It sticks them together. With a list, I can do the same thing. I can have even values low plus even values high, which would be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and then 12, 14, 16, 18. And I can concatenate those together. Now you can also, so that would stick them together using the plus sign. You can also use an augmented assignment operator that can be used to concatenate lists as well. Okay, so it's just exactly the same as so the plus equals. So if I did even numbers equals even numbers plus even numbers 2 would be the same as even numbers plus equals even numbers 2. And I will show you these things, the plus sign and the augmented assignment operator. Okay, so that's how we concatenate, and obviously concatenating is consistent across Python. So in a string, you're going to use the plus. In a list, you're going to use the plus. And generally, if you want to concatenate things, you're going to be using the plus sign. Now, there's something that we have, an operation that we'll do regularly, which is called list slicing. Okay, so a slice is a span of items that are taken from a sequence. It's sort of like a subsequence of that list. So the way that we can do this list slicing is we do it by index. Okay, so I may have even numbers, and that has the 4 indexes, which is 5 elements. Well, I can say, hey, I only want to grab index 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I can actually go list 2, 4. Right? But here's the other thing. It is up to but not including the end. Okay, and I'll show you what that is. So again, it's non-inclusive on the end, it's inclusive on the beginning. Okay? So a span is a list containing copies of the elements from the start up to but not including the end. So if start isn't specified, we start at 0. So you're always going to have 0. You can just throw in the end and it'll go from 0 to end. Okay, if end is not specified, then it'll be the length of list as the end of length of list minus 1 is used for the end index. Okay, well actually it'll be length of list because it'll go up 1 to make sure you actually get that last one. And we'll go ahead and show you what that slicing looks like. Maybe in this video, probably in the next video. Okay, so again, this is just grabbing some chunk of data from inside of a list. Now, going back to that example that I was talking about earlier, which I will build a list like this, and you will see this. Let's say I have first name, last name, age, first name, last name, age, first name, last name, age. I can actually grab a slice of that, and I can return just one record by slicing it by 3s. Okay, so I can grab 0, 4. That's going to give me 0, 1, and 2. Or that would give me 0, 1, 2, and 3. So I could do 0 and 3. Sorry. That would grab me the first 3. Okay? And then I can move up and move up and move it to be able to grab individual records, make it into a new list, and then parse the data inside of that new subsequence. Okay? And I'll show you the slicing. It's very, very useful in times whenever you want to sort of break the data down in a greater list and mess around with it. Okay? So again, while we'll also slice lists, it's also something that we oftentimes want to do, especially in data analytics, is do a search, right? So we want to search a list, and we want to find information in. Now, we can do a for loop to do a search, and I will show you how to do that. But there is this really cool function in Python, the in keyword. You can actually check to see if something is in a list by just using in. So if item in list, it'll give you a true or false. Okay, so it'll return true if items in the list, false if it is not in the list. Okay, similarly, you can also use the not in. So if this is not in, let's add it. Or if this is in, let's delete it. Or so on and so forth. Or if this is in, then do something. Right? So I can actually use the in operator to search that list very, very quickly with one line of code, which is very useful, especially in data analytics. So in terms of the list, as we mentioned earlier, it was defined as an object. Okay, so anytime we see that keyword object, we need to understand an object is indicative of dot notation, that there is some things inside of that object that allow us to do cool things. Okay, so the list has methods inside of it that can allow us to do neat things. And this is how we actually work with lists in a general sense. So the primary method that you're going to be using with list is list.append. Okay, so the append function is used to add items to a list. Okay, so the item is appended to the end of the existing list. So let's say we have even numbers that goes up to index 4. I can actually do even numbers dot append 12, and it's actually going to add it, and then it's going to go ahead and increase the size of that list. Okay, so append is just adding to the end of the list. Now, we also have index, where you can find the index of an item in a list, right? So I can say, what is the location of 4 in even numbers, and it'll actually return the index of that. We're going to use that quite a bit as well, especially in your homeworks, okay? I will again show you how to do this. But what that'll do is that'll return the index of the first element in the list containing that item. Now, if you are looking for 5 in the even number list, it's actually going to return a value error if it's not in the list. So you can actually use a try, search it, catch, value error not in list, right? So you can actually use that try except to raise it, to actually use it as logic. So if it's not in there, then you can catch that. So again, more of these list methods. You can actually use the list.insert, so you can insert an item in the index. So you can insert the item at the position in the index. You have sort, which can sort the elements of the list in ascending order. You can actually give it an argument that can make it descending as well, and we'll get into that later. You have remove, so you can do list.remove, and you can remove the item from the first occurrence of that item from the list. And then you also have reverse, which will actually reverse the order of the elements in the list. So if you think about that, you can do list.sort, which will actually it'll sort the items in the list in ascending order. So again, if it is numbers, it's easy. If it's strings, it actually does it by ASCII value. But you can sort it in ascending and then reverse that to get descending. Okay, so we can do that. We can also change the way that sort of works. So the list methods that we have, obviously, and I'm going to show you all of these, is list.append, list.index, list.insert, list.sort, list.remove, list.reverse. Now, when I say list dot, what I mean is the name of the list. Okay, so we've been messing around with even numbers. The name of our list is even numbers. So it would be even numbers dot append, and then in the argument, I would actually give it 12. Okay, and then I could do even numbers dot index and look for 4. Okay, I could do even numbers dot insert 2, and then I'm going to insert 45. Okay, I could do even numbers dot sort, which is already sorted, but then that would actually set it to where it goes from low to high. I could do even number dot remove 4, and it would actually pull the first instance of 4 off of that list. Then I can do even numbers dot reverse to actually reverse the order of that list. Okay, and again, we're going to go through all of these methods whenever we do our Python in the next video. So again, some other ones that we're actually going to use is the delete statement, which actually removes an element from the specific index. So I can actually delete even numbers 0, delete even numbers 5 or 4, delete even numbers 2. Okay, and then I can also get min and max, which are built-in functions that return the item that has the lowest or the highest value in the sequence. Okay, all right, so we're going to take a little break. We're going to spend quite a bit of time in PyCharm on the next video, so make sure you have PyCharm up and ready to follow along.